Into Math 3rd Grade, Lesson 4.2, Understand the Distributive Property. I can understand and know how to use the distributive property to decompose factors as a strategy to multiply one-digit numbers. Please gather your workbook and a pencil and turn to page 88 under Build Understanding, Question 1. A map of Nell's neighborhood shows 6 rows with 8 blocks in each row. How many blocks are there? How can you use an array to help solve the problem? Okay, and then it asks us to draw a horizontal line to break apart the array into 2 smaller arrays for facts you know. Okay, a horizontal line is a line that is a straight line that's drawn from left to right. So I'm going to draw my horizontal line right at the bottom here. And I'm going to now make an array that is 1 row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of 8 blocks. So I have created an array that is a 1 by 8, which makes 8 blocks. Now let's look at the remaining blocks. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 rows, and I know that there are 8 in each row because these are identical. So there are 8 blocks. So we have 5 rows with 8 blocks in each row, and that will give me the total of 40 blocks. Now let's look at part A. How many blocks are in each smaller array? Well, I have 8 blocks in the first array and 40 blocks in the second array. So I can write that in. 8 blocks and 40 blocks. Now let's look at part B. Why do you need to add the products of the 2 smaller arrays? Well, we want to find the total of the whole block. And so this is one strategy on how we're going to do that. So I can explain my thinking by saying I need to find the total number of blocks in the neighborhood. So when I do that, 40 plus 8, I'm going to get 48. So that's going to be the total number of blocks in the neighborhood. And you might be thinking to yourself, why wouldn't I just multiply the 6 times 8 to find 48? And no. Well, you can easily do that. This is just a different strategy. And so they're wanting you to learn different ways to do multiplication. So now we're going to take a look at this next part here. And I'm going to move it up so that we have more space. Nell broke apart her array to show 6 rows of 5 blocks and 6 rows of 3 blocks. What equations can you write for Nell's array? If you would like to pause and try this yourself and come back, you're welcome to do that. So we're going to look at this first information that says 6 rows of 5 blocks. And so we're going to write that out. There are 6 rows, and in each row there are 5 blocks. And so we know that 6 times 5 makes the product 30. So that's one fact, an equation that we can write. And then the other information that they provide says 6 rows of 3 blocks. So here we're going to write 6 rows, and in each row there are 3 blocks. And we can find the product of 6 times 3 is 18. So there are 2 equations that we can write. And when we look at part D, we notice that they want to know how many blocks are in Nell's neighborhood. So we need to take the products that we found when she broke apart her array, and we need to put them together. We need to add them together. So another equation would be the product of 30 plus the product of 18 to combine to add all of the blocks. And when we add 30 plus 18, we find that it is 48. So you can write these equations here for part C, and you can answer the question part D by writing blocks. You'll also notice that there is a connect to vocabulary on this page. This is explaining the distributive property that states multiplying a sum by a number is the same as multiplying each add-in, which means numbers that are added together, by the number and then adding the products. And you have already used the distributive property 2 times on this worksheet. You had Nell's block, which was given to you, and that is 6 by 8. Six rows, and in each row there are 8. You broke down Nell's array into 2 pieces, 6 by 5, so there were 6 here and 5 here, and then there were 6 and 3 here. So using the distributive property, we took this 8 and we broke it into pieces. We said we know that 5 plus 3 makes 8, and then we multiplied 6 and 5, and we found 30. And then we also multiplied, let's change colors here so you can see, 6 and 3, and we got 18. And so we found the information for both smaller arrays, but then we needed to add their products, the 6 by 5 and the 6 by 3, and we added those products here to get our total answer, which was 48. Let's take a look at page 89. Part 2. A map of Jody's village shows there are 4 rows with 9 blocks in each row. How many blocks are there? And how can you use an array and the distributive property to solve this problem? So when we look at this array, we see the information that they have provided. There are 4 rows, and in each row, there are 9 blocks. So it asks us to draw a vertical line, which means a line that goes up and down, a straight line, to break apart the array into 2 smaller arrays for the facts you know. Use your arrays to complete the equations to show the distributive property. Okay, so if you would like to try this on your own, you're welcome to pause this video and come back. We will start by breaking apart the array into 2 sections. So I'm going to use a vertical line here, and now I've created 2 arrays. There's still 4 rows, but now there are 3 blocks within this row. So we have created a 4 by 3, and then on this side there are 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 on this side. And so really we've just said 3 plus 6 makes 9. We're taking that 9 and breaking it into a 3 and a 6 at the top. Now it tells me to multiply each add-in, which are the numbers I wrote in, by 4. So I'm going to do 4 times 3 and 4 times 6. So when I do that, I'm going to put the products here. So 4 times 3 equals 12, and 4 times 6 equals 24. So I'm going to write those products here where it asks me to add the products of the smaller arrays. I put the 12 here for the 4 times 3, and I put the 24 here for the 4 by 6. And when I add 12 plus 24, I will find that the answer is 36 blocks. And that is the same as what we originally started with, which is 4 by 9, which would also give us 36 blocks. Remember, you can always go back and rewatch this video and pause along the way at any time.